kennel breed. We're going to have the privilege tonight of hearing from one of the moms of a recipient of the Seizure Dog Scholarship from Epilepsy, Florida. And I just wanted to remind you all, some folks here have come to the Wizard of Oz and to the Toga Party in the rain, and now tonight, I want you all to know that there would not be a Seizure Dog Scholarship Fund at Epilepsy, Florida without you. This is the event, and this is the community of friends and family that have made this possible. And so we've already been able at Epilepsy, Florida to award 2 scholarships to beautiful little girls in Florida. And one of them is named Maeve from the west coast of Florida. So the guest tonight has driven literally from Palm Harbor, which is, as I now understand, west of Tampa, to be here tonight to share a little bit about her beautiful daughter and to help you understand sort of firsthand what your support and contributions have meant in terms of actually changing the life of a beautiful child here in the state who will be able to do things that she never could have without you. So without further ado, I would ask you to please welcome Molly to say a few words.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to Florida Epilepsy for your generous donation. And this is my daughter Maeve. She's about 5 and a half, and her neurologist at Boston Children's is fully in support of her swimming and swim lessons. And yes, there is an adult right in front of that camera watching her swim. Maeve's first seizure was on her 2nd birthday, and the emergency room physician then said, "Oh, it's just a febrile seizure." But as a respiratory therapist in pediatrics over the last 14 years, my medical brain, that didn't make sense because Maeve wasn't sick. She had a fever after her seizure, which is common in a prolonged seizure. So she started seeing a neurologist, and when she was 2 and a half, she ended up having multiple focal seizures, and she started on epileptic drugs. And from then, that's where our epilepsy journey started. Maeve never spoke until she was about 2 and a half because of her seizures. She would screech or laugh and never spoke words, never said mom, dad, or any of that until she was about 2 and a half and was in speech therapy from the time she was 18 months. She has her epilepsy is most similar to atypical myoclonic epilepsy, which fortunately for Maeve is not that type of epilepsy because she doesn't regress. She is progressing. She's currently in a pre-K 4 class at Sutherland Elementary in Palm Harbor and is doing great in class and keeping up with her peers. And her difficulties and struggles with communication, she speaks at the level of about a 3.5-year-old right now, despite being 5 and a half. So communicating and telling people what's wrong is always a struggle with Maeve, especially when she does have seizures. She has absent, drop, and focal seizures, so just an innocent trip is honestly really probably a seizure for Maeve. So this Seizure Dog, we're using a program called Little Angels Service Dogs, and they're out of Conway, New Hampshire and San Diego, and they're one of few organizations that will train dogs for children under the age of 12. And Maeve's dog will most likely be either a lab, an English cream golden retriever, or a poodle or a golden doodle. And their dogs come through a breeding program that they have that do all types of these dogs. Her dog will should be able to alert or retrieve the vest that will hold the phone to call 911 to help the adult that is with Maeve. Maeve is our 2nd child, and I want my oldest child to have as much of a normal childhood as possible. So this dog not only impacts Maeve child's life, but impacts our whole family and allows both children to remain children for as long as they possibly can. The dog will also provide deep pressure, and it's helped. Maeve, always after a seizure, wants to be hugged, held, and all of that, but as she gets bigger, it becomes more difficult, and the dog will be able to help do that. Receiving a service dog will help maintain more normalcy for our family, and the dog will provide unconditional love and a friend when Maeve needs it. So again, I thank you all so much for helping with this foundation that has allowed us to move from the fundraising list for Little Service Angel Dogs to the recipient list. And currently our number is number 73 out of 150 recipients for Little Angels. So thank you again and have a great evening.